Everybody that used the tool saw we have one extra button now to switch between left and right. It is so straightforward how you guys programmed it, and everybody understands it, knows how to publish a new setup of this. We can change icons and colors. We can change the whole screen if we want to. We can switch between different modes now. You can tell these are a couple of different things that you can actually modify, but it's so well set up by creating margin that really for our staff, it takes no time to adjust anything on those screens, and they absolutely understand it without any issues.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Creating Margin Customer Testimonials. I'm Matt Krebs, founder and president of Creating Margin. I've got Miguel Castillo, our lead developer. For this project, which was Newark Liberty International Airport in Newark, New Jersey, we had an opportunity to interview Florian Kast, the customer experience lead at Newark Airport, and have a great interview to share with you here. Just a quick, we kind of talked about it through the interview, but just a quick summary of what the solution is. This is an e-gate system that's used at the security checkpoints in a particular terminal, I believe it's A for Newark Airport. We are proud to call Newark a managed services customer, which means that we are constantly engaged in proactive maintenance of their solution. And then we also have an opportunity every couple of years to make updates. We just finished making updates to our web application and the digital signage product recently. But we just appreciate you joining us, and I look forward to hearing any feedback that you have about this interview. So let's get on with it. Hi, Florian. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Great, great. Thanks so much for joining us. This is a pleasure to talk with you about this success story, and thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure.
Florian, we'd like to start by just having you introduce yourself to the audience. Can you talk a little bit about your role at Newark Airport there? As I understand it, it's with Munich Airports, but maybe you could just tell us a little bit about your background, how you came to be in this position, and then what exactly you do in the current position.
Perfect. My name is Florian Kast. I have been with Munich Airport, New Jersey here, operators of what you can see behind me, the beautiful Terminal A at Newark Liberty International Airport. I've been here for 5.5 years now in the role of the customer experience manager. My background is in aviation. I have been with Munich Airport in Munich, Germany for about 10 years before, actually it was 8 or 9 years before I moved here to the United States to support the team here in opening and then operating the Terminal A at Newark Liberty International Airport here.
Very good. So we created together, and I think we originally kicked off the project, was it 2021?
Yeah, it was actually the first project I started. When I first started, this was more or less at the end of the development. I came in and finished the project, but yeah, I would say around 2021.
That's right. We created, as the audience will know, we'll show some screenshots of the tool and kind of have a separate walkthrough of the tool, but it's an e-gate system where I would summarize it by saying you can easily update the labels and names of different gates as your visitors and travelers go through security at Newark Airport. But I'm curious, Florian, how would you describe the application that was created, and what was the process with, I know, Gensler, Electrosonic, and others to kind of envision what you needed?
Yeah, this is a very tricky point of our operation. The security checkpoint is not easy. As we probably all know, we've all gone through TSA before in our lives. It's always hard to navigate and know exactly where to go. Where is the entrance to TSA? What status do I have? Do I have maybe clear? Do I have TSA pre-check? Am I a standard passenger without any of those special services? So where is my entrance? Where do I go? And then also, how long can I expect to wait in the area that I'm entering right now? That was really the big question, the big challenge for us to show here. And we knew we would have the e-gates that you described. We knew we would have them in two separate locations entering the TSA checkpoint. But the big challenge for us was to show now who has to enter where and what wait time can they expect when they enter in these areas. We knew that the e-gates would work easily and that we would have those, but apart from the e-gates, we didn't really have anything yet. So when we engaged with you guys and Gensler, we started the planning for improving the basically just existence of e-gates to an actual experience where passengers can easily navigate where they have to go when they enter this, kind of tricky area, getting to the checkpoint and knowing where to go.
This was a great project because we were, unlike some, in this case, we had an opportunity to be involved even prior to the LEDs being installed, so we had plenty of time for the creative process, and we were able to engage with you and your team. And can you remind me, didn't we work with Port Authority as well, the New Jersey Port Authority?
Pretty much everything we do is together with Port Authority here, New
Right.
York and New Jersey. Their biggest focus these days is really the customer experience. We could just put e-gates there, and maybe we would make a portal above that tells you where to go, but it wouldn't be as good as what we have now. We really wanted to make sure that we can give something that is not just infrastructure, something that does a little bit more than that, that is more flexible for us in our operation, that gives us the flexibility to adjust things on the go, because things happen in operation, often things happen that are not going as planned. And as an operator of an infrastructure, you have to be prepared for that. We could have just put the e-gates there and let them be on their own, put staff next to it, and our staff could have always told every customer that walks in where to go. But obviously that is not a great experience for the passengers traveling through our terminal. So I think we had quite a challenging demand. We didn't make this easy for you guys, but I think we're going to talk about the solution itself in a moment. I think what you guys delivered helped us achieve exactly that, giving a better customer experience and staying flexible to change the setup of what we have on those screens within seconds so that we can react to changing circumstances within a heartbeat.
Right. Miguel, I'm curious, would you talk a little bit about the solution and also the Zobus part that we hadn't spoken much about yet?
Definitely. Yeah. It is a unique project. It does have a few moving components. I think the more specialized side is the live data, which we get from a third party. They have their own hardware that does, analysis of live data in terms of how many people are in line, where they are, how it's moving. And they made it super simple for us. All they required was an endpoint on our end for us to receive that live data. And then the rest was up to us, how do we want to grab that data and how do we want to, show it on the e-gates. And that's where the tricky part is with live data, we expect it to be pretty instant in terms of, a few seconds within that live data that we received. So that's where the tricky part really is how can we get this data and how can we make it work with the e-gates? Because the unique thing about the e-gates is when you look at it in person, it's just one, horizontal flat screen. But in the back end, doesn't necessarily work that way in terms of how we generate an image with wait time. But at the end, we try to make it as simple as possible for your team in terms of all they have to do is log in, click a few buttons, change the layout, and hit a publish button. And I think that's what we achieved. We have a Creating Margin SaaS Curio Cloud that your team can log in, switch between the north and south gate, change the icons, close lanes, and click a button, and then our backend services handle the generating of a photo, grabbing the wait times, and then making sure it's the right dimensions for the e-gates to show properly. And I think at the end of the day, it looks simple in the front end, which is our goal, and then our back end does some manipulation to make sure it's sizing everything correctly. But I would say
Focus crunches wait time. Florian, you might know at a more works by having a sensor at the entry to the security lane and the exit, right? And then there's identification of a particular individual and how long it's taking them to move through the line. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're basically covering the whole area actually. Every spot that people can wait in the security checkpoint here, we have covered with Zovis sensors. That's their proprietary sensors that they built themselves, and they also offer the software in the background. And they do a phenomenal job at measuring and then also predicting wait time. So we know exactly how long has somebody stood in line, and based on the numbers of how many people are exiting the line in the last couple of minutes, what are they projecting for the next passenger? So we're actually displaying on the screens that you guys have developed for us is what we call a predicted wait time. So let's imagine that we have 100 people in line, and we know that we can get 1,000 people through the queue in an hour based on what we've had in the last couple of minutes. Then it would be 1/10 of an hour of a wait time, so 6 minutes would be the predicted wait time. And what we do is, this is a standard approach that you usually do it in 5-minute intervals, that we would then say 6 minutes is predicted, so we predict it is going to be less than 10 minutes. We're thinking about maybe even changing that and making that more accurate right now, because we have the accuracy, we're very confident in the data, so we're thinking about actually making it the actual minute that we're seeing.
And we can show a schematic, here we'll add it to the video, but from a hardware standpoint, Electrosonic had specified a bright sign player in the rack, right? It's been outputting its video signal to a Novastar video wall controller, which then outputs the video across a series of nano-lumens LEDs. So it's a very, as our viewers will see, very wide aspect ratio for this E-Gates tool at Newark. And what we're doing is layering on, and feel free to add any color around it too, Miguel, but we're layering the lane names and labels with arrows. We're layering also the Zovis wait time, as you see, the predicted wait time. On top of that, we're serving all that to the bright sign as an image. So we're doing that very frequently. But that way, we wanted to think about, I recall from the planning process, we were concerned about cached content in case there was a temporary outage for the internet. Certainly we didn't want to have any downtime at the E-Gate itself due to the internet. So the nice thing about an image is that can cache very quickly and safely on the device on a local level. And besides power outages, we're pretty resilient in terms of internet issues. Anything you add to that, Florian, from just the thought that you put into that during the creative and planning process?
Yeah, I think really flexibility was the big one for us. Just our staff needs to be able to adjust this quickly and easily, and always the hard part. You could, of course, give us something that functions, but making even the online application that our staff can use on their phone while they're standing at the checkpoint to change this, making this was really critical for us. We have a lot of staff on the ground. We, of course, have staff turnover at some point as well. So this needs to be a solution that works very, very easily. And it really does. I can confirm this for everyone. It's very easy to use. We recently made a few changes to it because we had additional requirements for you guys. And even the changes, it took our staff 5 minutes. They immediately understood it. Everybody that used the tool saw we have one extra button now to switch between left and right. It is so straightforward how you guys programmed it, and everybody understands it, knows how to publish a new setup of this. We can change icons and colors. We can change the whole screen if we want to. We can switch between different modes now. You can tell these are a couple of different things that you can actually modify, but it's so well set up by creating margin that really for our staff, it takes no time to adjust anything on those screens, and they absolutely understand it without any issues. So flexibility really was the big one. As you said, we also had a requirement to make sure that if ever something goes down, as you say, like internet, for example, what if our waiting time provider has an issue? What if something's going on with one of the sensors? That stuff can happen. It doesn't. Luckily, we, okay, knock on wood, don't really run into these issues. But what if it does? So we also included a logic in your solution that says if the system is down, instead of showing wait time is basically 0 minutes right now, we show a blank screen. So our blank screen is basically our way to prevent that the system is down and we're showing less than 5-minute wait time, when really there is quite a queue going on right now and it's probably closer to 10 minutes. Then we want to show just a blank screen instead of showing something wrong.
I want to make sure we're clear on that, Miguel. So obviously the e-gate continues to show the gates, names, and arrows, whether it be handicapped or open or closed. But is it just no wait time shown, or and how did you approach the logic for that, Miguel, at your level?
Yeah. So in case the data that we get is, one, if we're no longer receiving data, or two, there is an issue with the sensor, like you're saying, and the data they're sending us, isn't accurate, so they need to temporarily shut it down. We have a automated function in the cloud that just checks periodically out. I think it's about every 10 minutes. It just makes sure, hey, is the latest data we have within our range of, I think it's 10 minutes in terms of if we've received this data more than 10 minutes ago, we don't want to show it. And so that we create that blank, the same layout, but no wait times. But yeah, we do have that periodic check of making sure it's accurate data. And if we haven't received any new data within this time limit, let's go ahead and, not show something that's inaccurate.
I'm curious, Florian, have you had any feedback from your team internally regarding how the engagement went? Everyone happy with the solution? But besides that, have you had any feedback internally about how our team is to engage with, etc.?
Well, luckily, that's usually me. I really enjoy working with you guys. You probably know this. It's quite easy to make changes with you. The flexibility that you present is always there. Whenever we need changes, they can happen on a short notice, and we can. It's probably like fixing a car. When something breaks and you need something to get done quickly, you want to have a partner that can bring you to the front of the line and say, "Come on, let me fix your solution real quick. We have other stuff that." I don't know if you let others wait or you just work overtime so much, which I assume is what you're doing, but it feels very good to have a partner that we know we can rely on, that helps us make quick fixes whenever they're required. For example, we had a minor thing going on with the wait time where we weren't sure if it's displaying 100% correctly, and within one day we were all on a call looking into the issue. We spent, I think, an hour or two all together on a call trying to find where exactly the little thing was, and it wasn't with you guys, it was with someone else. And yet you had to make little adjustments to it, and we immediately did it and got it fixed within less than 24 hours, which is exactly what you need when you have a critical operation like a security checkpoint that we have going on right here. So there's two parts to it. One is, or probably three parts. The one is know-how, which obviously you guys have. The whole solution is testament to that. The second part is flexibility and availability, which of course also you have demonstrated. And the third part is, can you also do it in a nice way, and is it fun to work with you guys? And that's I think the biggest one for me, because I never fear, if I reach out to you guys, that you'd be annoyed by a request or be upset that something isn't working or somebody else on our team might have made a mistake. It's always the kind way of engaging and a nice way of working together. And I always know that we're going to come to a good solution that works for everybody.
Well, that's great feedback, and I would give credit to you, Miguel. It seems that we've done, as we were saying, Florian, a couple of these reference videos, and we seem to have an opportunity to give you credit for all of them. So nicely done, Miguel.
Thank you. Yeah, credit to your team as well. You guys run a really tight operation. So if anything does come up, you guys have that reporting side of, hey, we got this issue, let's write it down and record it.
Very thorough, yeah.
Definitely.
And the requests are always really specific. which helps.
Yeah, yeah. So it kind of keeps me on my kind of keeps me straight in terms of like it may not be the direct team, but kind of having that your guys' support team that has these tickets. It's like, hey, this has happened. Very descriptive, very straight to the point. Kind of takes some pressure off me in terms of like, oh, well, I don't know what's going on. You guys come to me with like, hey, this is what's happening. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I know where to look. So I think just both our teams work really well together, and not everything's perfect, but when things do come up, I think we've been able to fix it, both on our end and having your team support and just making sure, hey, all we want is just to continue this operation, and I think it's worked really well.
I just wanted to say this is critical infrastructure here, right? We are an airport. This needs to work, and it's good, and everybody should have partners like you to work with, especially when you have critical infrastructure like this.
Thank you.
I wanted to take a quick step back and not to belabor the point of the creative process, but one thing we realized early on in conjunction with electrosonic is it's funny because in digital signage, probably 90% of digital signage users are basically uploading a graphic, publishing, and it's kind of on there, maybe in a playlist format, but it's on there most of the time. And so what we realized here is that there were infinite number of combinations for these lane labels. And so that's where we really came to the conclusion, gosh, we need to have a web application and allow, you talked about ease of use, Florian, with the gate agents and being able to update the labels and the arrows separately. But I think we did, a good job anticipating what the use case was. And I know in the recent update, we've made the default application even simpler with a standard layout, but we've kept that really flexible component as well, right?
Yeah, there's so many requirements to this because as a government-owned building here, Port Authority has requirements for standardized wayfinding, of course, and that makes so much sense, and the requirements are good. We had to follow them very strictly. There was adjustments being made to it. That's why we came to you with minor adjustments recently. As you say, there's infinite numbers of combinations with which of the e-gates is actually open. We want to show on the bottom which one is open, which one might be an ADA lane right now, or which one might have a little mechanical issue on the e-gates. So we want to show that this one in particular is closed. And yet we need to show, is this the pre-check side of things, or is this what we call the all gates side of things? And also the wait times need to be displayed on there. So there's so many different factors that come into play here. And it's really kind of tricky to make sure that it's running smoothly on our end already. If then also the technical part on the background is tricky, that would be a horrible experience for all of our staff. So it's really, really good that we were able to avoid that we got you guys as great partners that found a way to make the solution on the back end, the Courier Cloud, so easy to use that this is a very natural process for our staff. Then they don't have to think a lot about, oh, what do I have to do here? It's really intuitive. They click on what exactly they want to change, click publish, and they're good to go. And I imagine it sounds very easy, but Miguel, I'm pretty sure you had to put a lot of work into it to make it look so easy.
Questions that you got, Miguel?
No, I think we've kind of answered a lot of the ones that I had in mind. No, I'm just excited to know we got a project out there that's being used daily, and it has an impact on the customer experience.
Yeah, this is making people's life easier. Literally, that's, at least for me, that was always what I wanted to achieve in my career, to make people's life easier with my job. And for you, if that's one of your goals, you've definitely achieved this with what you've done here, 100%.
Thank you, Florian. It's sure a pleasure working with you. Thanks for spending time with us today.
Absolutely. The pleasure is mine. I want to say I would love to work more with you guys. But of course, since we only have this one application, I hope nothing fails and we don't have to work together. Right. But if we had to, I'd be very comfortable knowing that you guys will fix it in no time.
It's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Florian.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Well, feedback.
Mhm.
And had an opportunity to recognize you, Miguel, for your efforts on an ongoing basis. But what were your thoughts on the interview?
I think it went great. I think Florian has been a great partner to work with. Him and his whole team have really been, supportive, as well as just making sure their operation continues. Um, I think overall, if you're, in that airport uh, business and you're looking for some sort of e-gates, I think this is a perfect solution. It's a custom SaaS service to ensure, we're giving you what you need and not, a bunch of features you're never going to use. Um, and it's a great, our Zovis is a great partner for getting that data. And then we've been running this for, I would say, almost 3 years now. And, it's been operational, I would say, you know, yeah, pretty much, yeah. Just like anything, nothing's perfect, but when when they're in an industry that's critical, we make sure anything that does happen, we take care of it right away. And overall, it's just been an awesome experience. And hopefully, if you guys are ever at the airport and you get to see it live in person, it's just as what's it called? I want to say amazing in person, but just as easy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the goal.
It's kind of wayfinding digital signage in a way, but just on a granular level, right? Trying to get people into the right lanes. I did want to make add one note, which is that though they are using nanolumens LEDs at Newark, the fact of the matter is this application could work on any size screen, LCD, LED, portrait orientation, landscape orientation. I know I was recently in Boise Airport, and they're using ultra-wide LCDs for a similar application. So certainly, nothing new under the sun, but our application, and especially the web backend, is intended to make it easier for TSA gate agents and airport staff to update the security gates and labels. And it's not as important kind of what hardware you happen to have a budget for, or a vision for, or space for. We can work around those requirements and make the solution work for you. So we appreciate your time spending it with us and meeting Florian. And we look forward, as I said in the opener there, to any feedback that you have. Thanks for joining us for another episode of our customer testimonials, and we'll see you again soon.
See you in the next one.